it's Hailey, and today I'm going to be doing my May/June wrap-up as well as my July TBR. So normally I do my TBRs and wrap-ups separately, but I've actually only read 2 books over the past 2 months, so I figured it would just be easier if I combined all that. I have just had a crazy month in June. I was gone for the entirety of May, so I just haven't had a lot of reading time, but in July I have nothing going on except for like work and stuff like that, but other than that I'm completely free, so I feel like I will be reading quite a bit, or at least I'm hoping, fingers crossed. But without further ado, let's just get into the books that I read in May/June. So first of all, the one book that I read in May was The One Memory of Flora Banks by Emily Barr. I read this book on my way to the airport, and I actually don't even own the book anymore because I did not like it at all. I read it very quickly, but that was because I just didn't like it, so I kind of was just like, get through it, get through it. The writing style was interesting. It does make sense for the content because it's about a girl who has amnesia, so it's very repetitive writing style, but I found that at times it was too much. Like, I understand why it was happening, but you also have to consider the fact that this is a book that's meant to be read for enjoyment, so the fact that it was so repetitive just made it not enjoyable. So I do get the concept of the repetition, but I just think the execution, it was a bit overdone. So for me, it kind of just made the reading experience not enjoyable at all. I just didn't really like it. I didn't find that I liked the characters or the plot at all, so it just was a no for me. So I gave it, I think, 1.5 out of 5 stars, maybe that. So that's the only book that I read in May because I don't really read a lot while I'm traveling because I'm just so exhausted. But then when I came back, I was having trouble kind of finding a book that really was helping me get back into reading. But then my May Owl Crate came, and it included Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia, and I honestly had not heard of this book at all before I saw it in my Owl Crate, but then I saw that there were a bunch of reviews that were amazing. It was getting 5 stars from basically everyone, so I decided to pick it up and give it a go, and I'm so glad that I did because I really loved it. I loved Eliza and seeing her struggles, as she is the creator of Monstrous Sea, which is this huge kind of fantasy sci-fi world that she's created. It's more so sci-fi, but it's something that everyone is just die-hard fans of, so she feels a lot of pressure, and seeing her deal with that pressure and the fact that she has anxiety and she's struggling with all these other mental health issues, I thought it was just a beautiful story that was really fun, but at the same time had a lot of substance to it, which is something that I love from contemporaries. And I found that I really related to Eliza a lot, like feeling the pressure from being an online presence, I guess. I don't really know how else to say that, but I totally understand getting overwhelmed and then feeling so much pressure to put out quality content. I totally get that, and seeing her kind of overcoming the pressure that she's putting on herself, I felt like I really related to that because it reminded me of some points in my YouTube career where I was just feeling frustrated with the fact that I wanted to put out such quality content, but I couldn't really think of things. So I just felt very akin to her struggles, and I thought this was amazingly written, and I actually really want to pick up Francesca Zappia's first book, Made You Up, because I loved this one so much. So I'm very glad that I read this one, and I gave it obviously a 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm hoping to do a review for it very soon, but I have a ton of reviews that I have to do. So that's all for my wrap up for the past 2 months. Now we're going to get into the books that I'm hoping to get to in July. Like I said, I think I will have a lot of reading time in July, but then again, don't really know what's gonna happen, but these are the books that have been catching my eye lately. First off, I just wanted to mention I'm currently reading They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I will probably end up finishing this before the end of the month, but then again, who knows? I say that sometimes and then I don't finish it, but I'm about 100 and something pages in. I feel like I lost my bookmark, so I don't know, but I'm somewhere in here and I'm like making progress with it. This is coming out in September and it's so good so far. It actually is kind of funny because the concept for it is exactly like an idea I had for a novel that I never actually wrote, so I think it's funny and I'm glad that it's actually being published. I like the way that he is executing the idea. I feel like I could not have done it that well, so it's very good so far. So now the first book that I'm hoping to get to in July is The Fill-In Boyfriend by Casey West. I love reading fun and cute contemporaries in the summertime, and I feel like July is like the first official month of summer, and that's because it actually is. That was a really stupid statement, but anyways, I really want to get to this one. I think it just sounds adorable, and then who knows, maybe I'll pick up some more Casey West. Next up is Queens of Geek by Jen Wild. Like I said, really into contemporaries for the summertime. I had started this when I first came back from my trip and I got about 100 pages in, but it wasn't really gripping me at the time. autumn. I feel like I needed something that was more intense a little bit, so I never really got into this one, but I was enjoying it, so I'm hoping that I will be able to get to it in July. Also, this is another one that has been getting like crazy good reviews, and people are saying it's a quick read, and it wasn't being a quick read for me, so that's why I decided to put it down, but I will be picking it up again in July. I will do it. Next up is Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulthurst. I got this book way back in December 2016 in the Owl Crate, and it has been on many a TBR since then, but I've never actually read it because I was like, yeah, I really want to read it, like very gung-ho for it, and then when I went to go and pick it up, I just wasn't in the mood for it. But when I was reading another book the other day, I was thinking, wow, I really want to read this now, so I feel like I'm finally in the mood for it. It's about lesbian princess. It sounds amazing, and I'm hoping that it will be amazing. I finally want to read it. Next up is This Darkness Mine by Mindy McGinnis. This is Mindy McGinnis's latest novel, and this is coming out in October of this year, and I am lucky enough to have an ARC of it, so I really want to read it. I read The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis last year, and I loved it. She, from my understanding and from what other people are saying about her, I've only read her one novel, but I've heard that all of her stuff is kind of weird, and I'm down for that. I like the weird writing in her style, so I'm hoping that I will enjoy this one as well. I literally know nothing about it, but I'm very excited to dive in. The next two books are ones that I've mentioned in like 3 TBRs for the past 3 months. Like I did 2 TBRs in June, and they were in both of those, and I haven't gotten to them yet, and then they were also in my May TBR, but I'm hoping I will finally get to them in July since I'll have a lot of time to read. But first off is Wonder Woman by Leigh Bardugo, Wonder Woman Warbringer, that is. I think this just sounds amazing, and I finally saw the Wonder Woman movie, so I really want to read it. I'm not going to go too into depth because I've talked about it before. And then the other one is A Court of Wings and Ruin. I really just had a brain fart on the title right there, even though it was right in front of me, but A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. I haven't read this yet. It is the latest / last installment in the main part of the A Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy, so I want to get to it. Please no spoilers. Please, please, please don't tell me if you liked it or not. I don't want to know anyone's opinions until I read it for myself. And the last 3 books on my TBR for July are a little bit different because they're not YA books. They are actually writing books, so I really want to get into my novel. I've been talking about writing a novel since I was like 8 years old or something like that, but I've never actually sat down and done it because it's just very intimidating. There was one point where I was starting a project, but I never really got to it. It's really hard to write when you're in university, but now that I have graduated, I am finally ready to put my focus on writing a novel. That is my goal, is to get a novel done in the next 2 years. I want to do that. So I'm hoping I'll be able to do that. And to start off with, I want to read some books about novel writing because novel writing is intimidating as all hell. So the first one is Fearless Writing, and this is by William Knauer, and it is about how to create boldly and write with confidence. I struggle a lot with confidence in my writing just because I feel like it's all crap, and I love writing, but I feel like I'm comparing myself to so many other writers, and I'm like, I'm not that good, so I am hoping that this will help me be more confident in my writing. And then the next book is Writing Great Books for Young Adults, and this is by, I don't even know. Who's this by? Regina L. Brooks, and I want to write a young adult novel, so I was like, hey, this could be helpful. And then the last book is The Complete Handbook of Novel Writing, Everything You Need to Know to Create and Sell Your Work by the editors of Writer's Digest, and it has a bunch of different authors in here that have articles. So we have like George R.R. Martin, who else? Khaled Hosseini, Orson Scott Card, Stephen King, Alice Hoffman, Jodi Picoult, Anne Rice. There's all sorts of different authors in here, and I feel like this will just be a really good reference book to have because it's pretty big and it seems to just follow everything. So I'm hoping that these novels will help me out with getting started on like outlining my project. I have the idea for it. I'm not going to tell you guys until I like officially have started and I'm a little bit into a manuscript, but I'm planning on reading these, and then I also might be taking a class on writing for young adults specifically because I find that a lot of the writing classes don't focus on young adult writing and they kind of look down upon it, but I'm hoping to take one that is on young adult writing. Who knows right now because classes are very expensive. So that is all for my May/June wrap up as well as my July TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys read in May or June, and let me know what is on your July TBR. That's a lot of things, but you can pick one and just tell me. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! I was doing so many weird things with my hands there. That was so weird.